Good evening and welcome to our Tuesday, April 4th City Council business agenda. I will now call the meeting to order. The Pledge of Allegiance and invocation, if she so chooses, will be led by Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good move the agenda.
Thank you, Councilwoman Coonrod. We have a special presentation tonight. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. If Mr. Sonny Lee Moses Jr. family would come join me at the podium, please. I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas Mr. Lee Sonny Mosley Jr. began his life journey on December 6, 1938 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. As a young child, his parents gave him the nickname Sonny, which became a term of endearment for everyone that knew and loved him. He was a very proud husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, and was always his family's greatest protector and supporter. Whereas he was raised in the West Side community and was a lifelong member of First Baptist Church, East 8th Street. He accepted Christ at a young age and remained an active member of the church by serving on the usher ministry until his passing on December 20, 2019. Whereas Mr. Mosley was educated in the Chattanooga public school system, graduating from Howard High School in 1956, he prided himself on being one of the students who attended Howard at its original location on Carter Street. He furthered his education at Tennessee State University before returning home to Chattanooga to reside. Whereas in 1965, Sonny became one of the first African-American police officers hired to protect and serve in the city of Chattanooga. He served with the Chattanooga Police Department for 28 years before retiring at the rank of sergeant in 1993. Whereas after leaving the police department, he returned to the law enforcement field as the lieutenant of hospital security administration at Erlanger Health Systems, serving for 15 years upon retirement from Erlanger. He continued his last assignment as City Traffic Court Officer under the Honorable Judge Russell Bean. Now, therefore, I, Demetrius Coonrod, Councilwoman of Chattanooga City Council, do hereby honor and recognize Mr. Lee Sonny Mosley Jr. for a law enforcement career that spanned over 43 years. As a police officer, he prayed for dedication to do his job well, keep his community safe, and show compassion for those in need. Mr. Mosley fulfilled that prayer by living an exemplary life of service to the family, community, and the city that he loved. And so we will be having an unveiling on Greenwood for a commemorative street, Lee Sonny Mosley Jr. Road.
I got kind of full here. This is our daddy. This is his twin, my brother Corey. This is my sister Yolanda. We have another sister Serena, and our oldest brother Dwayne passed away in December of 2018. But we are all, and this is his little mini-me, partner in crime, Demi, my niece, his granddaughter. Spent a lot of time with my daddy, but we are very proud to be the legacy that Daddy left here in the city of Chattanooga. And it's not often that we meet anybody that has not encountered Sonny Mosley or Officer Mosley. And so we're very proud and grateful and thankful to Councilwoman Coonrod, who lived in Eastdale with them, with us, for this recognition. He will be very honored, very honored. So thank you.
Councilwoman, do you have the date for the dedication? Okay, as soon as that's ready, would you please let the council clerk know so we can post it on our website? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that. Now moving into our agenda, we'll take a motion on our minutes this evening. Second. A motion on the minutes. They will stand without objection or order of business for city council ordinances on final reading. Madam Clerk, planning item A, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 7368, 7376, 7384, and 7390 Old Cleveland Pike from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone subject to certain conditions.
Dr. Burrs.
Move approval.
I have a motion to approve. I have a second to that motion. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Ordinances on first reading, Mayor's Office. Item A, please.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 10, Buildings by adding Article 4 entitled Commercial Property Access, Clean Energy and Resiliency CPACER Program within the city of Chattanooga.
Councilwoman Hill.
Thank you, Chairman. We had a good discussion on this during strategic planning today, and the administration asked that we defer it 1 week until the 11th of April so that we can have the public hearing on the CPACER program.
I have the motion
So I move to defer 1 week.
1 week to the April 11th. I have a second to that motion. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item is deferred until April 11th. Resolutions. Madam Clerk, deep breath. If we could read council office without objection from council, items A through G we'll take as a package, please.
Item A, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Parks and Outdoors to accept an award of $20,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds for the construction of a pavilion at Lookout Valley Park. Item B, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $25,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to the YMCA, Hamilton Family YMCA, for the purposes of providing whole family programming and services to Chattanooga residents who experience negative financial impacts as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Item C, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $35,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to Brothers United International Association of Black Professional Firefighters for the purposes of establishing the David J. Floyd Youth Summer Camp and Continuing Mentorship Program. Item D, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $5,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to Chattanooga Empowerment Cowboys for the purposes of continuing mentorship programming through youth athletics. Item E, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $15,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to the Ella Library for the purposes of continuing library and tutoring services to increase the literacy rate of students in Chattanooga. Item F, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $10,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to the Bethlehem Center for the purposes of making programming more accessible through the hiring of a community outreach manager. Item G, a resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to allocate $42,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to the Boys and Girls Club of Chattanooga for the purposes of upgrading and improving safety and security infrastructure at the 2312 Duncan Avenue Highland Park facility.
Councilman Henderson.
Move approval.
Have a motion to approve. I have a second to that motion. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Items carry. Thank you. Economic Development, item H, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic Development to enter into an agreement with the Chattanooga Area Regional Council of Governments, CARCOG, for the management of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA Brownsfield Revolving Loan Fund, RLF, for a 4-year term beginning on April 4, 2023.
Have a motion to approve. I have a second to that motion. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Family Justice Center, item I, please.
A resolution authorizing the Family Justice Center to apply for and, if awarded, accept a continuation grant from the Tennessee Office of Criminal Justice for services provided to victims for a grant period beginning July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024 for an amount not to exceed $124,000.
Dr. Burrs.
Move approval.
Motion to approve. I have a second to that motion. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Under Mayor's Office, without objection from council, Madam Clerk will read items J, K, L, and M.
Item J, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Harley Milligan to the Office of Family Empowerment Board for a term beginning on April 5, 2023, and ending on April 4, 2024. Item K, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Deanne Bolton to the Office of Family Empowerment Board for a term beginning on April 5, 2023, and ending on April 4, 2024. Item L, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Micah Chapman to the Office of Family Empowerment Board for a term beginning on April 5, 2023, and ending on April 4, 2024. Item M, a resolution authorizing the mayor, his designee, to enter into a sub-recipient agreement with Hamilton County Schools to launch the One Chattanooga Institute for Early Care and Learning, a new future-ready institute that would allow students to become credentialed early learning professionals for an amount not to exceed $1 million.
Have a motion to approve. I have a second, several seconds to that motion. Thank you. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed or are there any members of the Family Empowerment Board, Harley, Deanne, or Micah? Are you in the audience this evening? Hey, Micah, thank you for your service and willing to serve your community in this capacity. We thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Planning, item N, Madam Clerk, please.
A resolution approving a new special exceptions permit for a new liquor store located at 5230 Highway 153, Suite 140.
Planning item N, District 3. Have a motion to approve. Have a second to that motion. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? One no, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Parks and Outdoors, item O, please. And P, we will take as a package without objection from council.
Item O, a resolution authorizing the City of Chattanooga and Austin Peay State University Southeastern Grasslands Institute to enter into an interlocal agreement to collaborate on promoting, creating, and restoring grasslands on city-owned lands, where the program will help fulfill Resolution Number 30532, addressing the responsible management of city-owned natural resources, and will reduce stormwater runoff and lawn maintenance costs, increase biodiversity, including pollinators, and many other benefits. Item P, a resolution authorizing the Administrator of Parks and Outdoors to accept, if awarded, a grant in the amount of $100,000 from Kubota Hometown Proud for installation of trees and shrubs in equity zone parks in an effort to reduce urban heat island effects.
Have a motion to approve. I have a second to that motion. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Items O and P do carry. Under Public Works, item Q. Madam Clerk, please.
A resolution authorizing the Department of Public Works and Transportation to erect commemorative secondary street name signs on Greenwood Road from Wilcox Boulevard to Edding Street, designating it as Commemorative Lee Sonny Mosley Jr. Road.
Councilwoman Coonrod.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve. I have a second to that motion. Thank you. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Under wastewater, without objection from council, Madam Clerk, will you please read items R and S, and we'll take those as a package.
Item R, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Wastewater to execute a Fourth Amendment to the Environment and Economic Infrastructure Improvements Plan, E2I2, an interlocal agreement in substantially the form attached for cost sharing between the City of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and the Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority as part of the City of Chattanooga's consent decree, and said amendment governing sewer flow, sewer system capital improvements, and the transfer of ownership of the parcel at 6,000 Corneliuson Road from Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority to the City of Chattanooga. Item S, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a lease with the Industrial Development Board of the City of Chattanooga and substantially the form attached for the design and construction of the city's proposed wet weather equalization stations to be located at 6,000 Corneliuson Road, identified as tax map number 169D8001.02. 220 Corneliuson Road, identified as a portion of tax map number 157 MA009.03, and 7148 Lee Highway, identified as tax map numbers 139PC008.01 and 138MC002.014, for a term of 6 years for an annual amount of $1, subject to final closing.
Have a motion to approve with several seconds. Thank you. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Items R and S carried. That will conclude our ordinances and resolutions for this evening. We have purchases this evening. We have 14. Ms. Julia, are you presenting? 14 purchases this evening, 5 contract renewals, 0 RFP, 0 emergency purchases, and 0 sole source to report.
All right, let's see if we can set a record. Transportation Division of Public Works, this is a new blanket contract for bike share operations from Shift Transit LLC. 1 bid was requested and 1 bid was returned. This is a 5-year agreement with 1 5-year renewal option. The city will not be paying for the use of the bike share operation. Second is from the wastewater department. This is a new blanket contract for standard valves. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $100,000 per year. The award will go to Consolidated Pipe and Supply and Piping Supply Company as the best bids for the city of Chattanooga. The third is from the wastewater department. This is an increase of $125,000 for an annual estimated spend of $215,000 due to increased usage of MSA parts from Gexpro. The fourth is from the Fleet Management Division of Public Works. This is a second and final renewal for service repairs for all medium and heavy-duty vehicles from Lee Smith, Inc. A 37% price increase was submitted at the time of renewal due to the increase in labor and part costs from the manufacturer. The total annual estimated spend is $1 million. Fifth, from the Fleet Management Division of Public Works, this is a new blanket contract for fueling station repair services and upgrades. 7 bids were requested and 2 were returned. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $150,000 per year. The award will go to Spatco Energy Solutions as the best bid for the city of Chattanooga. The 6th is from Technology Services. This is a new purchase agreement for professional services to provide website development for the city. 13 bids were requested and 7 were returned. This agreement is not to exceed the amount of $998,402.82. The award goes to CI&T Inc. as the best proposal for the city of Chattanooga. The 7th is from the mayor's office. This is a renewal of a $118,000 blanket contract with a $50,000 price increase for the Essential Community Services Hotline from the United Way of Greater Chattanooga. This will be a renewal for 1-year agreement not to exceed $168,000. The 8th is from Human Resources. The next several items are related to moving multiple healthcare contract terms from the fiscal year to the calendar year. These are all 6-month extensions of the contracts to align with the calendar year. I will read them as the plans, their provider, and totals. Vision Benefit Plan from Blue Cross Blue Shield Tennessee for $105,000. Health Plan Administration Services from Blue Cross Blue Shield Tennessee for $725,000. Pharmacy Benefit Manager Services from Epiphany RX for $377,000. Dental Services for active employees and retirees from Cigna for $675,000. Healthcare Independent Daycare FSA Administration from Ameriflex for $31,000. Life and Disability Insurance and Leave Management from Symetra Life Insurance for $671,000. The final purchase is from the Facilities Department and Public Works. This is a new blanket contract for supplemental custodial services. 6 bids were requested and 3 were returned. This will be a 3-month agreement not to exceed $70,000. The award will go to Detail Experts as the best bid for the city of Chattanooga.
The one item for technology services to CI&T is for $998,402.83. I think there was a little bit of difference in the reference.
Yes, sir. Was off by 1 penny. Apologies. 83 cents.
All right, no problem.
Have a motion to approve purchases this evening. I have a second to that motion. Thank you. Questions or comments before we vote on purchases? And for those of you who recently joined us over the past few weeks, we do look at purchases a week in advance. We have an opportunity to ask questions of staff, and again today at 3:30, which we have done. There's a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Purchases are approved. We will now move into committee reports. We'll start with you, Councilwoman Coonrod. Councilwoman Knoll. Dr. Burrs. Thank you. Councilman Henderson. Councilwoman Hill. If you'll hit your light for me.
Chair, we had a planning and zoning meeting today, and I would like to request that we put a meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee on the calendar for May 9th. There will be an opportunity for us to hear about some of the work that has been done to look at the value of housing across our community.
Very good. Madam Clerk, do we have that? Thank you for that. Councilman Smith?
No report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Hester?
Parks and Public Works Committee did
meet today. We'll meet again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, sir. Madam Vice Chair.
No report.
All right, fantastic. That concludes committee reports. Mr. Novitt, we do have a certificate of compliance.
Yes, sir. There is a certificate of compliance for Highway 153 Corporation, DBA Hickson Wine and Spirits. It will be a liquor store located at 5230 Highway 153, Suite 140 in Hickson, Tennessee, and it meets all the requirements here of the code.
Thank you, sir. We now come to the time in our meeting where we recognize persons wishing to address the council. So if you would like to address council, we ask that you please line up at the podium. And while you're doing that, I'll have Mr. Novitt read our rules for public speaking.
Yes, sir. At the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council. The following rules will apply. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized up front at the microphone provided for that purpose. No person can have more than 3 minutes to speak. The speaker can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters that are not under the authority of the council and which are regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Don't engage in any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. The speaker should address the council as a whole and not make comments towards individual council members. And don't engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law. And someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting. Having stated those rules, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I'm Brett Starnes. I'm here to speak about the unsheltered in Chattanooga. Yeah, it's been around 19 months since the last time I stood here before y'all, speaking of the urgency of building shelters in Chattanooga. And at that time, unfortunately, I was one of the unsheltered. In that time of homelessness, I felt hopeless, alone in the world, without a purpose. I found myself in that cycle of addiction and homelessness. But praise God, since that time, I've found a home, and I stand before you today not only as a man who has a home, but a sober man, and most importantly, a man of God. Now, I stood before you before about a year ago, lost and without a purpose. But now my purpose is to spread the word of God through my testimony, sharing with others that God is still working miracles every day. And when I say miracles, I mean through the shelters that are being built. That will be a miracle for somebody, as it was for me, that my brother Capellish went out of his way to build one. Maybe not up to code or standards, but he got it done. And so, yeah, as a person who comes from those shoes, has walked in that mile, lived in a tiny shelter, I can tell you that they will help people. But yeah, it's been like 19 months since the last time I stood here. In that time, y'all have managed to build 0 shelters. I've seen some being built, but to me, I'm no expert, but I just don't think that's good progress. So I'm mainly here to encourage y'all to continue seeking ways to be more productive. Maybe, as they say, not put all your eggs in one basket, But, as a person who's been through those situations, I just want to reiterate the importance of this, because the last time I stood here, I believe it was wintertime, and I had caged a little shelter in front of the homeless community, in a cage, and it's cold, 13 degrees outside, I believe. And now here it is, over a year, something later, and nothing. It seems, I know y'all are working, but it seems to me there's no progress being made. There should be faster progress, and just get together. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know what it is, but I encourage y'all to maybe keep working at it. So I thank y'all.
Thank you, Brett. Joshua Capellish here. I'm an advocate for unsheltered citizens here in Chattanooga. I will email you. Excuse me, I messed up my speech here. I come here quite a bit, and so basically I try to say something to affect the situation and create a sense of urgency. So I read a book from a guy at Harvard. I didn't go there, but the world of books is good, and the internet, right? We can reach a lot of people, so don't take it from me, but creating a sense of urgency is important, and then creating a guiding coalition, right? It's a book from John P. Cotter. I should give that man a recognition, but basically we have to cut the red tape and get some things done. It's a box, it's a shelter for people to stay safe, dry, and warm. So the truth is, you see, It's not that difficult to see, and in between you and me and the rest of humanity, some citizens in the scenic city of the South have been left out. In the cold, a bold withdrawal of resources for those who truly need so little, yet offer so much thanks in return. A frustrated yearning for normalcy and human decency is all these people needed for most. A restart, so why not start small? My organization, Tiny Homes for the Unhoused People, built 11 tiny homes that served approximately 24 people during the harshest time of the year. Brett's a United States veteran, like me. We have that wingman concept, and we've never left his side. He needed a roof over his head, and because of the efforts of our team and many in the community, we were able to do that. And today, he stood here with me, a changed man, because I didn't leave his side. And so, over the course of that 6 months, I also learned we housed 4 pregnant women who stayed safely in those homes. And I knew that, they never would meet code, and you were going to tear them down, so I made sure that we didn't spend a lot of money doing that. So, my goal is to build homes for about $5,000 in 5 hours with teams of 5 people that include Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, veterans, chaplains, and I know we can do that, and we're going to build 50 of them. So I'm going to put together that plan and email you, and hopefully we can get together with that sense of urgency. And it's important to include people because we can take all of our ideas and combine them together and create a holistic solution. You can vote on the different homes. And if nothing else, we can take and move them, and somebody will have a really cool shed. You know what I'm saying? So with thinking differently in non-permanent foundations, we can move these homes, even though it might get somebody through, a month or two. Having a woman be secure in there is very important. And elderly folks and veterans. We've got 57 homeless veterans in Chattanooga. That's 57 too many. And I can guarantee you that if I was in charge of the homeless veteran program, there'd be 0, and I would start immediately. So, building things is not that hard. It's a matter of working together. And I know we can do that as Americans. We've got 50 stars on our flag. And, we've had terrorist attacks in Chattanooga. And Chattanooga Strong means something to me. And I've carried that flag across the country, and I brought it back here. So let's work together. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Ma'am, can I get an interjection real quick, if you don't mind?
I'm just
Josh,
picking your opinion.
Yeah, thank you. Josh, Brett, you guys, thank you for what you do. I want you to know that. We do listen, and I would like to ask the mayor's chief of staff to share some information, because I want people to understand we are working on things, and there are certain things that we have to do, and there's certain processes that we have to follow, and there are some things on the horizon and also some information that I want to make sure people understand. Joda, will you talk a little bit about this, because I know.
Yes. First off, I want to echo that. I appreciate Josh's passion for the subject, and I also, again, I want to reiterate that this, and we've said this before, but this administration has housed over 2,000 folks who were formerly homeless over the last 2 years. And this is thanks to the tireless work of our Office of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, the outreach staff. Mike Smith's here from the Regional Homeless Coalition. We've talked about this for, now nearly going on 24 months. And this is something that, as we have about 130 units of permanent supportive housing in development right now. I was working with a developer today who was just able to get a permitting issue resolved that will have a deep level of affordability for about 48 additional units of affordable housing that gets down to our deepest level of affordability that we've seen in our community in a long time. Again, these are steps towards making serious progress. And in about a week, we're going to have a really exciting announcement about our progress report up until this point on homelessness. So I do want to encourage, not discourage, but encourage the activity and passion around homelessness, but I do want to emphasize the work is working and that we have made serious progress as a community. And thanks in part to the fact that we have a lot of compassionate, thoughtful residents and folks all across our community who care deeply about this issue. And so I appreciate the attention that not only this council and the administration, but also our neighbors have to this issue, because it's very important. Thank you.
Thanks for that update. I want to make sure that we had some information regarding that. Ma'am, thank you, and I thank you so much for your patience.
No problem, no problem. Okay, so my name's Glenda Papu. I've been here last couple of weeks, and I do live in the county, and I just wanted to thank you for what you're doing. We do need to take care of our homeless. We have the problem seems to be growing here, and it breaks my heart that we're having to come here, and instead of addressing that, we're addressing a climate plan. And I just wanted to point out here just a few things on the plan that, and I said I do live in the county. Part 3 plan says many of the goals, strategies, and actions fall within the purview of cities' municipal operations, while others will require the broader community to work together, which in my opinion, that is talking about the county. So even though it is a city thing that we're talking about, it's going to encompass the county, and I want people to be aware of that. Also, this thing about net zero carbon emissions throughout the municipal operations, this is on page 21. By 2040 and by 2050, a net carbon community footprint. And it talks about an undeniable link between that and global warming. Now, I know that we need to watch our emissions. I have no problem with that, although we did shut down our emissions thing out there where we were looking at the cars. But the thing is, when you talk about net zero carbon, when you realize that your carbon, you breathe carbon dioxide into the air, and it's simple photosynthesis. You breathe that into the air, the plants take it in, the plants produce oxygen, and oxygen produces life because we breathe in life. So when you're talking about net zero carbon, you're actually talking about death, and I just want to point that out. That's probably not a good thing. Also, another part on 2.11.2, part of the goal is invest and incentivize existing and new home energy efficiency weatherizations, workforce development programs for low-income and vulnerable communities, establish an energy efficient standard for rental housing to increase affordability. And when you're talking about updating your building codes and you're trying to put in all of these new codes, I'm not sure that's going to help people to have affordability, because it's going to cost a lot of money for our landlords to actually put this into practice. There's also in here on page 25, explore potential for car-free zones and encourage and incentivize electric vehicle adoption. I don't know about anybody else. I'm driving a 2011 Ford Fusion. I'm trying to keep it on the road for another 10 years. I cannot afford an electric vehicle. And I know there's a lot of people in this community that cannot afford an electric vehicle. This is one that really gets me. Build density in appropriate locations. I can't finish it.
Thank you.
Please do your research and know what it says in the plan. Dig down.
Amen.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mariemont District 8. Danish philosopher Soren Kierkegaard says the life must be understood backwards. It can only be understood backwards, but must be lived forward. Over the last several months, I had an opportunity to reach out to the district attorney's office about the unlawful, unethical, and immoral undue influence of our council and our mayor into the District 8 race, and I received a response from her office to submit evidence to an investigator for her to decide whether or not she's going to prosecute the people who were involved. Over the last several weeks, I didn't submit that information. I actually took some time to speak with my mother before I made a decision. And she specifically asked me, she said, "Baby, what's your difficulty in walking away from this?" I said, "Mama, because what they did was wrong. It was public, and everybody saw it." And she said, "Baby, don't worry about it. You know, don't worry about it." And she recommended 3 books for me. She said, "Baby, you're in transition." One was Elizabeth Kubler-Ross on Death and Dying, which is an excellent book, and Transitions and Managing Transitions by William Bridges. And she dropped a gem on me like only a good mother could, and she said, "Baby, whatever you focus on, that is what grows." When I went to Harvard, the best part wasn't meeting people from all over the world. It was on the plane ride home, the Lord answered my prayer from supplication, and that was, "God, why am I here? Purpose. What is my purpose?" And he spoke to me on the plane and he said, "Marie, you're here to build the next generation of leaders." When I came back home, I ran for public office and I had decided I was going to send another young Black African-American professional to Harvard. By the time I got to the end of last year, I sent 4. By now it's 5, 2 to MIT. One of my mentors from 6 years just got into Harvard Medical School. and made a 518 on the MCAT, which puts her in the 96th percentile of all medical students across this nation. And my mentee, Marquez, we started with $0, and now he's up to over $1 million in scholarships and just got accepted into Stanford University. I could fight back against you for a mistake. I feel a mistake. But I choose to give you grace that you didn't give me, love that you didn't extend me, kindness that you didn't give to me. And what I choose to do in this moment is to solidify who I am to this city, which is a change agent and a person that is building the next wave of leaders that is going to hold some of these seats and seats of power all across this nation. I didn't lose, I promise you, I won.
Evening, sir.
Hello.
Your name and district, please.
Yes, my name is Joshua Bills, and I'm in District 8. I currently stay at Patton Towers, and I'm one of the residents over there. And one of my, I come to y'all as a concerned citizen to have the sidewalks over there cleared out because of the drug activity that has happened over there. I kind of feel like there should be a lot that should be changed over there and happen. Sorry, I'm kind of nervous.
Take your time. You're good. You're good.
There's so much that I'm asking y'all to help clear a lot of that activity out, not just for myself, but for the residents that are too afraid to stand up and say something about it. Every time I'll come out there, it's difficult to very difficult to just walk around. I'm so sorry.
You're okay.
That's it.
It's okay. Will you hang around a little bit after the meeting?
Yeah.
And
This is my first time doing something like this.
you did fine. You did fine. Thank you for coming down. You'll just hang around a little bit
Yeah.
afterwards. Thank you.
Aaron Berry, District 3. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How do we replace corporate representatives off the seats of our council and replace them with we the people that we chose to be put in these seats? Well, how do we do that? Well, we signed a petition. And right now we got petitions going around for the state of Tennessee to remove the Menon voting machines out of Hamilton County and the state of Tennessee. Going back to the old ways of hand count paper ballots by real individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna come here every Tuesday. I'm gonna smile at you because I know the time's coming, tick-tock. Because we're gonna replace you guys on that seats with people that we want. And that's what the next call is gonna be. We need everyone in Hamilton County and the city of Chattanooga to come to Miss Glenda's organization. What is it, States of America? Miss Glenda, you still in here? What's it called?
Tennessee Neighbors for Liberty.
Say it louder for me.
Tennessee Neighbors for Liberty.
Tennessee Neighbors for Liberty. And we need some good candidates because we're going to raise the money for you. And we're going to put you in there because you're going to be the voice of us. These machines will be out of the state and this Hamilton County by the next election cycle, ladies and gentlemen, because they're unconstitutional and the truth is coming out about them. When that happens, we're going to elect new council members. And those council members are going to ask for a criminal investigation on the individuals that's taking bribes and taking things and didn't listen to the people, listen to corporations. And when that happens, then we're going to change the way the police departments run and the fire department run. They're going to get actual retirement benefits and they're going to get actual things that they deserve. Not, 30 years for a 50% retirement? For goodness gracious, what are you, 50, 60 years old by the time you retire? That's over half their life. They're not old enough to be able to commit to that. I want their safety is at my heart and my soul. So at 20 years into their careers, their heart's in the right place, but their body just can't take it at 30 years. It's just hurting, right? So for us to award them for their service to us, because it takes a different kind of breed of person to put your life in front of, keep your life for somebody else. We come far and few in between. And those people that serve you in that substance need to be rewarded well. You don't do it because for the rewards, but we need to give them a pat on the back. So we're going to have to put new people in here so we can start taking care of a city, not these corporations. We should already had bus stops and things that was protecting our cities. Have you guys been down our roads? You're putting the cart before the horse. But you know what? I'll talk to you next week on Tuesday. God bless. Have a good weekend.
Well, it's me again. I'm Tim Gilley from Tiftona, and I have yet to see my mayor here. I have yet to see Tim Kelly here. He sends y'all out here, good representatives, to sell his plan, or this plan. I think he should be here before the people. There's a lot of people here that aren't real sure about what's just happening or about to happen. I'm powerboard. I hung half of the fiber optic cable in Chattanooga. Tim Gilley. I know what fiber can do. Once our data, better explanation. Once our name, image, and likeness hits the fiber, anyone with a technical degree can intercept that. It's on the World Wide Web. Maybe going to Washington, D.C., maybe going to Switzerland. This is what you're setting up the people of this community with. That we're going to be, who knows, cataloged, pigeonholed, but we know this. Name, image, likeness was not given to y'all. You don't have permission to take our pictures and put it on the World Wide Web. You don't. Artificial intelligence, you know what AI is? Have you heard of it? I know you've heard of it. Artificial intelligence. You know what Google's getting ready to do? You know what Microsoft's getting ready to do? They're going to take you out of the equation. They're going to turn it over to the machines. And our data is going to go into an AI machine. And it's going to determine what the world, George Soros, or the federal government is going to do with our data in Chattanooga. This is what I'm saying. That we deserve a vote. No one run on this smart, cheap city grid. We didn't give y'all permission to take our name, image, and likeness and put it on the power board's World Wide Web. You should run this to the people. A lot of these people here never heard of this before. Nobody run on it. Did you run on it? Did any of y'all run on this grid? I don't think so. I voted. I didn't hear it brought up. Y'all owe the people, the citizens of this city, a chance to vote on putting their name, image, and likeness on the World Wide Web. Thank y'all. Please consider. Just give us a chance to vote.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm here again. I'm only here this time to say thank you, and I'm going to ask the members of the Brothers United if they would stand. We certainly do appreciate you all putting your trust in us when we come asking you for something for our young people. And I'm just looking at the flow of what's happening here in front of me today. And we talked about Sonny Mosley, and those type of men empowered us to do the right things when we was coming up. You know, I knew those men. I was kind of afraid of those men because they could put the fear of God in you, and your mama and daddy would do the same thing after they told on you. So we want to get back to that. These young men here are stepping up to the plate to say, hey, we want to put on this youth camp so that we can put back productive young men and women back into the city of Chattanooga the same way that you all have entrusted in us. I heard the gentleman talking about the fire service. Well, I retired when I was 55, and I think I look good at 62 and feel good. So I appreciate my 28-year career in the Chattanooga Fire Department on behalf of the city of Chattanooga. And all we want to do is to continue to give back every day because you gave to us. And what we want to do is to let our young people know that we still love them, we care for them. That youth camp that we're going to put on, we're definitely going to invite you out to participate in it. Once we get our agenda solid, we will come back and give you an invite because we're going to have event nights. And you're going to be part of one of those event nights where our young people can look at you and touch you and see what it is to be in city government, Cousin Coon Rod, so that knowing that they can have relationships with people that they see at a distance is just that close. These young men, they have endured some of my conversation, and you all don't get that conversation because it's in private and I kind of say what I want to say. But these young men, they are standing here. They are 100% with this youth camp. They're 100% committed to the city of Chattanooga because they love their jobs. As that gentleman said, it takes a special person to put their life on the line. I've been married 30 years. I used to leave my house. Didn't know that I was going to come back or not. But I went out to do a job. And now that's what they're stepping up doing. They're sacrificing and they're bringing their families to city council meetings. That's a good thing for this young lady to see that her daddy is an intricate part into the city government. That's what we want. That's what we want to get back to. And I know that I just only had 3 minutes. That's why I asked Alan to stand up here because I know you got something to say.
No, I'm gonna give him 2 minutes. I want one. I'm gonna give him the other 2 because she's not gonna get on me today. I promise you that. It ain't gonna happen. So just to follow up with Fred as I try to anyway, in recent years, Brother Brooks and I used to have conversations about what is it that we could do to kind of jumpstart our organization. And he said to me, I don't know if you remember, he said purpose. Give brothers purpose and it will go. And that's what we have set out to do. I like to read the book, Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Haven't made it all the way through. I always start over, but it's a purpose-driven life. And that's what we're on now as the Brothers United. It's a purpose-driven life, a mission. You know, it's all purpose every day. It was never about the money. It was never about seeing what we can get from the city or city council or the mayor or the county. It has always been about our community, about our kids. To be in the profession that we're in, you don't know if you're going to go home. You just don't know. You don't. Every day we get up and go work those 24-hour shifts, we don't know if we're going to make it back. You know, there are doubts, but we still do it anyway. Of course, you all know it's not about the money. Again, it's about purpose. We know every day until we retire, even after that we have a purpose. And we always talk about how can we make ourselves better? How can we make ourselves better so we can make our community better? And if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? And I just, again, go along with Freddie, and on the behalf of the Brothers United, we appreciate you all. We thank you all for trusting us, you know, with the resources, just with your time, letting us come here. As some of you all said that we're going to cause trouble tonight. We always cause trouble. That's what we do best. Good trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. Sometimes bad trouble is called for it. And I'm done. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hang on 1 minute.
2 minutes.
Alan, hang on. You're not getting away that quick. Not that quick. Councilwoman No.
Okay, Mr. Brooks, step back up, please. Step with it, yeah. And if the firemen could stand again for me, please, I would really appreciate it. I just want to say thank you. Thank you all for all that you have done and it's doing, not only for the youth, for the elderly, for the young adults, things that you have provided that the city, everyone in the city is not really aware of. But I am looking forward to this camp, that you all helping to build that strong foundation that is needed in our youth today. From what I could see, the skills, the leadership skills, the ability to be able to work with others is so very important. To be able to resolve conflicts by being respectful to one another, not name calling, not bashing, not making it up, not accepting the responsibilities of what you have done and or said. So I am so grateful. These skills will be with these young people, it will last them a lifetime. Whether you all believe it or not, because I'm older than all of y'all, but I won't say anything else other than that. But the fact that, trust me to know that they will never, ever forget it. And I was very happy to be able to assist.
Thank you. And let me say while we're here, and I don't want to overlook Chief Murphy while she's in the room. She has reached out 100%. We're all working in this thing together. We can't do anything by ourselves. I've reached out to Austin Garrett. He's on board. So this is a community thing. Regardless of where we at and who it is, it affects everybody. And you as council people know this. And back in the early 60s and 70s, we used to get away with a lot of stuff, but now everybody see you. Everybody see you. When you think people are not watching you, you'll be surprised who come up to you and say, hey, I appreciate what you've done, and you don't even remember what you've done. But young people look at you, and they see you, and that's our point with that. And I can talk, but the thing is, I love every last one of you. I appreciate it, and I would not do anything to disappoint you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address council this evening? Mr. Smith.
Yes, my name is Mike Smith. I'm the Executive Director of the Chattanooga Regional Homeless Coalition. I live in District 3. We are the federally recognized continuum care lead agency for the 11 counties in southeast Tennessee. One of my daily responsibilities as the lead technical expert of all things homelessness in the region is to look at communities across the country and look for best practices. What can we do better? Well, in speaking with my peers from across the state, one of the things I've come to realize is that there's some things that we can do better, sure, and we're always looking for those, but there are some things that we can also share with the other 95 communities in this, or counties in this state. So June 27th through 29th, we will be convening leadership of all 10 continuum cares from across the state at the Chattanooga Convention Center to show best practices. We want to lift up all of Tennessee together because all of the leadership and I believe that there is an end to homelessness. And we're going to go there together.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone else wishing to address council? Council, I'm seeing no one at the podium. We are adjourned.